So in this video, I wanted to spend a few minutes talking about this new mechanical pencil. This is the Pentel Orenz AT, and basically it's the newest model in the Pentel Orenz line. The Orenz, that's O-R-E-N-Z, of course, is the automatic pencils from Pentel, and there's a few different models, the most famous of which is this one, the Orenz Nero. This has, I would say for, maybe 3-4 years now, been one of the kind of most desirable and popular of the kind of mechanical pencils in its price range, specifically if you wanted something that is automatic. And that just means self-feeding. So as you write, it will continuously feed lead out, basically automatically. So you could write continuously without having to click the top a lot. The Orenz AT is the dual texture Orenz. So basically it has the same automatic technology as before, which we'll talk about in a second, but mechanically it's not really any different than the previous models in that, like the Nero. Now you have a new dual material grip. Pentel and a few other brands, but most notably Pentel, have some dual material grips like this, so it's something we're familiar with, but it's the first time it's coming to the Orenz line. We could see here we have a kind of a folded piece of metal. It seems like steel, really hard to tell what it is. And then coming through, you have little pieces of rubber, and they extend out just a little bit. So you get a little bit of extra grip off of the steel, plus it looks pretty cool. The rest of the pencil kind of moves back to the design from the Nero, where you have a kind of heavy-duty, high-quality piece of plastic. You could see the styling is actually quite similar between the two. It's a faceted plastic. The Orenz Nero, it has a metallic feel, particularly over here, but it has a sort of coldness of metal all the way around. And Pentel calls the material like some sort of metal hybrid or something like that, but really it just seems like it's a thermoplastic, where here you have a very plasticky feel here. Again, a high quality plastic, something you would feel from like a much older pen or pencil, and then just straight up metal here wrapped around the rubber. Let's take a quick look at the box, and then we'll jump into the specifics of the Orenz AT. So you see it says Orenz AT dual grip. That's sort of the selling point there. Automatic technology. This one is 0.5 millimeter, which is pretty cool. The Orenz Nero was typically sold in a 0.2 and a 0.3 millimeter versions, and it came out with a 0.5 millimeter much later. This one launched with the 0.5 millimeter, as well as other sizes, but most prominently the 0.5 millimeter. AT equals automatic technology. They've always been automatic, so I don't know why this one's the AT, but the dual grip is the important thing here. And then price. Here you have 20,000 yen. That's Japanese yen. Retail price or street price has been about $25, $26 in the US. Okay, now we're looking at the AT itself. So we see metal button cover, nice little extendable eraser here. This is where you feed that lead in here. Small metal clip, quite functional, quite nicely done. The internal here is not metal. You see it's plastic over there, which is not really a big deal, but it would have been nice to see metal on a $26 pencil. Here we have that faceted plastic, again, quite high quality. There's a visible seam right here. It's hidden over here because of the edge, but here you could quite see it. It says Pentel. This is the PP2005 in 0.5 millimeter, and that kind of rounded edge is also here in the Nero, but the Nero doesn't have that little seam there. They seem to do that a little bit more, a little bit nicer. The clip is identical. The button here on the Nero is a little bit nicer. You could see it has the metal extension, and it has a little ridge here, so definitely higher quality. And then you have the metal ridging here. So this is extendable with a ferrule, so it's more extendable. With the eraser is longer, and then you have the ferrule, so it holds in. And then you could see internally it is a metal piece instead of plastic. So definitely already we see some cost-cutting measures having come to the Orenz AT. Moving down, really nothing else to see here. Here's that little joint. Really not much. It says Japan. And then it looks like it might twist apart here, but it doesn't. At the business end, we see a nice piece of metal. This is really well done. It's clearly nicely faceted. You have the hidden pipe. This is so you could transport this safely without bending the pipe or stabbing yourself. When you want to use the pencil, you click once. It extends the pipe, and then it extends the lead. And you want to keep the lead very short because this is an automatic. And basically, as you write, you move up and down. You will eventually slide the pipe. The pipe will go down. It'll extend the lead. This will be happening as you write, obviously in smaller increments. So this way you don't have to push this all the time. When you want to put it back in your pocket, you kind of just push it down and push the button, and you hide that pipe again. Works quite well. So if the pencil jams or you want to take it apart or anything like that, you can just grab and twist here. The first time you do it, it'll be really tight. So just kind of stick with it and give it some time, and it will come off eventually. You can see this piece is all metal, really nicely made, very, very high quality here. So nice job, Pentel. And now we see this piece, this slides off, and this is very reminiscent of Pentel's other dual grip pencils. Basically, it's a little piece of rubber inside, and this piece of metal, it's just a sleeve, has some nice strength to it. It's pretty well made overall. Sometimes the little rubber inside just kind of falls out and you have to line it up. That's not the case here. It's quite well done. Here we could see just all plastic here, nothing fancy. It's a single piece. And there you see some of the hardware here, kind of like that metal clutch and all that, pretty nicely made. You know, it'd be nice if it was all metal, but this is definitely good enough. This piece goes back on here, I guess goes that way. And then this piece will be put in place. We could just do a quick test right here and see if the piece between the Arens Nero, the writing tip, and the Arens AT are interchangeable. They won't be in the case of this pencil, of course, because this is a 0.5 millimeter and this is a 0.3 millimeter, but we'll see if it slides in. No, it does not appear to, so yeah, it does not appear to be interchangeable. And obviously the Arens Nero has nicer hardware on the inside, and the bottom sleeve, this grip area does not come off, but you can see this is really, really well done. The Arens Nero really is an exceptional pencil, and despite the fact that the Arens AT is pretty nice, it just doesn't have that same level of polish across the board. So you want to tighten that down, otherwise your grip will slide, and now we're good to go. When you're writing with this, you want to don't extend the lead too much. Obviously the 0.5 millimeter can go a little bit further, but essentially it doesn't really have to go out past the pipe because it will adjust itself. So this is the Pentel Arens AT, and this is the 0.5 millimeter. So it looks a little blunt. It is sold in different sizes, so if you want a 0.3 millimeter, you can get that. I don't recommend the 0.2 generally. Just very fragile, even an automatic pencil, but it is available, I believe. This does not have any spinning lead technology like the Kuratoga or the Delgard or anything like that. But clearly you have the automatic writing. You just have to make sure that it is engaged fully and that you have enough lead out that it's going to slide that pipe out. Once it happens, it writes nicely. And yeah, I don't have any particular problems with the Pentel Arens AT. It's pretty good looking. I like the gray on silver. I feel like on the inside and the internals and the hardware and the clutch and that, they kind of cheaped out relative to the Arens Nero. The Arens Nero, I wish I had it in the 0.5 millimeter, but it just wasn't available at the time. You can get another one of these for maybe about $20 to $25 now, maybe a little bit more depending on where you buy it. But they're pretty easy to find, and I will say that I still prefer the Arens Nero. It's not truly metal. It has a sort of metallic feel to it, even though at the end of the day, I think it's just a plastic composite. But for me, it's a better looking, nicer feeling pencil. The Arenz AT, you get the metal here and the hybrid grip, but I always have enough grip here. I never felt like this was slippery, so the rubber doesn't really add anything to me. And then the trade-off is I think the rest of the pencil looks a lot worse. This looks more plasticky. The button and the top piece is of lower quality. The internals appear to be of lower quality, and maybe that won't affect your day-to-day, but it's definitely something to keep in mind as you use this. And if you have an Arenz Nero, I would say just be happy with that and stick with it. Don't feel like you have to rush out and buy the AT. It's an interesting offering, and I'm glad Pentel's working on their higher end pencils, but I'm definitely not really blown away with this. So that is just a quick look at the Pentel Arenz AT. This is pretty new for 2023 model. Thanks for watching.